Yo, what is up? It's Tom. Thanks for being here. What a day. What a day. What a crazy, crazy couple games. The Twins sweep Cleveland in this huge AL Central doubleheader today to open this gigantic weekend series. You know, boys got to keep it going, but what a way to start off this series. As you see there, Matt Wallner had everybody's mouth agape and clapping and going nuts. And here is the AL Central right now. The Twins are a game and a half back of Cleveland. That happened fast. Again, Cleveland's been struggling. Kansas City only a couple games behind the Twins. So this is going to be a fight. This is going to be fun. This series really feels like the opening to the stretch run. You know, you go through the season. You've got the All-Star break a little bit after the halfway mark. And then I think it's good to have, right around now, some kind of a big series to really throw some cold water in your face. And you know, the trade deadline's passed, so you know there's not anything moving there. And it's just, let's go. It's go time. And the Twins took care of business today. The first game, Bailey Ober started. This was a huge starting pitching mismatch in favor of the Twins, and that I felt the first game of a series, the first game of a doubleheader especially, is always huge. But the fact that this was such a mismatch in terms of, especially if you consider how well Bailey Ober has been throwing, the Twins really had to win this game, and it was tight. It was a 4-2 win. It was tense, and they took care of business. And that was in a very large part to Bailey Ober, and he was dominating with his changeup in this outing. Ober goes 6 innings, 6 shutout innings, strikes out 9. That's his 9th straight quality start. He threw 106 pitches. Cleveland, and it wasn't because he was nibbling or anything. He only walked 2 guys. Cleveland did a nice job of fouling off a lot of two-strike pitches, So 70 of his 106 pitches were strikes. So he's throwing strikes, but they did a good job of kind of limiting how deep he was able to go, but still went 6. Alcala gave up a home run, gave up a couple runs, made things a little too close for comfort for me, but you know that's going to happen from time to time. But then Jax and Duran closed it out. So the one thing was, you know, the Twins, again, like I said, they had the big pitching advantage, and then they used really their big bullpen arms in the doubleheader. Maybe you go back to a guy in the second game, maybe not, but that was a huge factor to keep in mind heading into the second game, that they kind of pushed all of their chips in, or a lot of their chips into this game. I felt really a huge weight come off of me personally. I had butterflies today. So yeah, I was into this game. That's why this is going up later than usual. I instead of kind of working on some things for this recap, I really allowed myself to fully immerse myself in these games today. Carlos Santana homered. He had another hit. He had a great game. You know, as somebody who wasn't really feeling that signing all that much, I gotta say, man, I was super wrong about this guy. He's been tremendous. Ryan Jeffers also homered. You know, again, a nice win, a nice hard-fought win, 4-2 victory in that first game. Moving on over to Game 2, and Matt Wallner, let's look at that home run. So huge, the Twins trailing 3-2 in the bottom of the 5th. The momentum had really shifted toward Cleveland after Josh Naylor hit a big home run. So that 3-run home run was massive. But also the Twins stole some runs. Willie Castro stealing home on a double steal. Christian Vasquez scoring from first base on this play. You know, usually it's Cleveland are the ones who are pressing and pressuring teams into errors and running the bases. Vasquez also prompted a balk and scored a run that way, too. Twins win 6-3 in Game 2. I think 5 double plays in this game. So the fact that it was 6-3, I mean, that almost kind of hides. The Twins could have dominated this game, really. And, you know, 6-3, that's a pretty comfortable win. But they really looked better other than one swing. That one swing, we'll get to more on that in a second, that Josh Naylor hit that big home run. The Twins really dominated this game. Matt Wallner with that big swing, huge. You know, I was really rooting for Louis Varland, which we'll get to in a second, and kind of hoping for his redemption story. The feeling of these guys kind of trying to reestablish themselves, and Matt Wallner is one of them too. You know, he got sent down. Had a horrible spring, got off to a slow start, got sent down. He struggled. It's not like he immediately hit in St. Paul either. It took him a while to get going and then just got fired, and he's been so good since rejoining the Twins. So for him to have this huge moment in this massive game, it feels so good for Matt Wallner to be the guy to put the Twins over the top today and have this pretty marquee moment for him in a season that started off tough. Obviously, he's managed to put that behind him and move forward. And, again, had a great moment on a 3-0 pitch that he just obliterated for a 3-run home run to put the Twins up. So, again, tip of the cap to Matt Wallner. There was a lot of Twins had a lot of traffic. Again, so many double plays. So many double plays. Again, Louis Varland, yeah, he did give up 3 runs. It was on the one swing of Josh Naylor. That was a really bad pitch, like really bad location. It was a 2-strike pitch, too, so to leave a pitch right over the heart of the plate. I'm not trying to hide from that fact, and as you see here, he also gave up 8 hits, so it's not like he was like dominant other than that. But 60 of his 85 pitches for strikes. The only runs he gave up was on the 3-run home run. It's not like we can take that back, but if we play alternate universe and just say that was a solo home run, I think this looks much better. And he would have pitched deeper in, or if he got more run support. Twins only had scored 2 runs while he was on the mound. There's a few different ways we can kind of take that. The guy topped out at 98.5. Kind of where I'm going here is like Louis Varland as the Twins' 6th or 7th starter or whatever, however you want to count him. Number one, they're going to have to count on him. We're going to talk about some of the injury news that they got today. Joe Ryan's going to be out for a while. They're going to have to count on guys like Louis Varland. Maybe not Louis Varland specifically, but guys like Louis Varland who aren't ideal Major League starting pitchers. And, he would be better off in the bullpen. I've had this conversation with multiple people. So if I exchange any kind of messages with you recently or anything about this, it's not a one-person thing. I get that. I agree with that. I think that too. But like you could say that about David Festa. You could say that about pretty much any kind of fringy starting pitcher that they would be better in the bullpen. That's how it works. Yeah, Louis Varland would be better in the bullpen. Yeah, he is kind of prone to a big inning. But I think he, and part of this is there's opportunity here, no doubt about it. But I think he deserves the opportunity to try to work through some stuff in the major leagues right now. Again, he had a really great run in St. Paul recently, pitching really well with the Saints. This game he had under control until the 5th inning. And I know that's not saying a lot, but like Sonny Gray has a lot of starts like this. So not to compare, Sonny Gray is a much better pitcher than Louis Varland. He has more than double the workable pitches that Louis Varland has, so I'm not comparing them, but I'm just saying it's hard. It's really hard to be a starting pitcher in the major leagues. So I think we've been spoiled a little bit with how good the rotation has been the last 2 years, that people get a little bit nitpicky with Louis Varland, and I just don't think that there are that many other teams that have a guy who is throwing 70-some% strikes and topping out at 98.5, just hanging out in AAA that they can turn to in an emergency. So take that into account. Like Louis Varland would be starting games for Cleveland if you just want to use that example. We'll throw that out there. And I know they've had some injuries on their end too, but anyway, the saviors of the game. Louis, he did give up the 3 runs. He didn't go 5 innings, so I don't want to sound like I'm talking up this outing, but I just think I've just seen a lot of people be a little too hard on Louis. The saviors of this game, no doubt, were Cole Sands and Caleb Thielbar. Being a doubleheader, having kind of used your top bullpen guys in game 1, it was hard to try to figure out how the Twins were going to navigate Louis Varland not finishing 5 innings. And it worked because Cole Sands was awesome and Caleb Thielbar was above awesome. And again, another guy who I thought was cooked, Caleb Thielbar. But, when you're 37 years old and you're a reliever, you sneeze and I assume your career's over. It happens fast with a lot of those guys, and it looked like that's what we were getting with Caleb Thielbar. And if he's going to throw like he did, it was vintage Thielbar. If he throws like this completely changes the makeup of the bullpen if Caleb Thielbar is back and can pitch like he did tonight. That was super impressive. He saved the game. Trevor Richards came in after a nightmare outing that he had, threw 8 of his 9 pitches for strikes, throws a clean inning, gets a save. That's got to feel really good for him too. But really, again, huge hats off to Sands and Thielbar for stabilizing this game, making it work, giving the lineup an opportunity to, again, Matt Wallner crushing one. But the day started. It's a huge contrast between ending the day with a sweep of Cleveland, a doubleheader sweep of Cleveland, and starting the day with this. This was difficult to digest all at once. This all came out pregame. Joe Ryan is out indefinitely, which we kind of knew. He's got a strain of his shoulder, I think is what that means. A grade 2 teres major strain. That's a shoulder injury. Those are kind of mysterious. He's out indefinitely. I've been kind of doomerish about forecasting Twins injuries lately, but it sounds to me like I don't think we can expect Joe Ryan to make a traditional start at this point by the end of this season. Could he come back? Yes. Is it going to be as a guy throwing 90 to 100 pitches? I don't think so. I don't think there's time for him to rest and recover and then build back up. Maybe he doesn't pitch at all. I think that's definitely on the table. They don't know, and nobody knows at this point. I want to make that clear. I don't think the Twins know. Joe Ryan doesn't know. It's a thing that they're going to monitor, and it's going to take time to figure out. This is a massive blow to the Twins' rotation, and they're just going to have to move forward. Guys are just going to have to step up. Louis Varland's going to have to step up. David Fess has already stepped up. He's going to have to keep pitching well. Simeon Woods Richardson's already stepped up. He's going to have to keep pitching well. They're just going to have to keep rolling and next man up. Brock Stewart is also out for the season. He's having shoulder surgery. If there's a silver lining there, I guess it's that we never really had Brock Stewart this year anyway. So the bullpen's been very functional without him, but it's still, we know how good that guy can be when he's healthy. It's jaw-droppingly good relief pitcher that, could have been a big difference maker for the Twins that is not going to be there. Brooks Lee was also placed on the injured list with bicep tendonitis. It sounds like, he might even be back at the minimum. He might only be out for 10 games, depending on how that goes. That's kind of another one of those deals where they're going to monitor it, but it doesn't sound, from what I've read, that it was too serious. Kyle Farmer and Scott Blewett, who is a reliever, were added to the active roster. Probably the most notable thing about Scott Blewett is he's not Justin Topa. I know I've been very closely documenting Justin Topa's lack of velocity in his outings for the Saints, but he's still pitching well, and he's been rehabbing for a while. He's had quite a few outings. It doesn't feel good that they had an opportunity to turn to him, and he's not the guy they're turning to at this moment. Don't want to overreact to that or anything, but Luke Keeshaw, also on the minor league side, my number 4 Twins prospect, out for the season. He's going to have Tommy John. He's had an elbow issue all year. Earlier in the season, he was only DHing really, and then if you follow the channel, he's been playing some first base of late, which I thought was really interesting. Well, this makes sense now why he hasn't been playing second or center field as much, because he's had that elbow injury, didn't go away, and he's going to need Tommy John. Good news is, position player that's not as bad of an injury. It sounds like they kind of expect him to not miss any time next year. And Luke Keeshaw, guy who's in great shape, number 1, and is regarded as maybe the hardest working guy in the entire system, number 2. But let's move on to more fun stuff. Walker Jenkins for Cedar Rapids. He was promoted not that long ago. Here he's getting an opposite field single that just gets inside the line. In his first at-bat of the game. A little bit later, I believe this was his second at-bat, he gets another opposite field hit, a double, a perfectly placed double. So he's a guy that draws a lot of walks, can go the opposite way. For such a young guy, he has a really advanced approach at the plate and a lot of things he can do that you just don't see a lot of teenagers do. Great hair as well. Speaking of do, his hairdo. But here he is in center field too, making a nice running catch on the track. He, obviously he was hurt his first game of the season for the Mighty Muscles. He got injured and missed a ton of time. And then kind of They've been kind of easing him in back in the field is how I would put it. He's been DHing a ton, so it was nice to see him run that ball down. So Walker Jenkins 2 for 4 with a double. Deshaun Kersey Jr. hit a home run and stole a base. Kealen Culpepper. That shows you how much news there was today. Twins number 1 draft pick this year, Kealen Culpepper, made his pro debut, was 2 for 4 with a double, and it's like buried under layers and layers of news. There was just so much that happened today. Unfortunately, the Mighty Muscles were on the road and playing a team that didn't have an MILB broadcast, so I don't have highlights of Culpepper to show you, but Kyle DeBarge and Billy Amick, who were his draft mates, also had multi-hit games for the Muscles. So all those guys already not just active, but playing really well for Fort Myers. So great to see Culpepper out there playing. Another Culpepper, no relation, but CJ Culpepper made the start for the Colonels tonight. He's kind of building back up. 1 run over 3 innings, 4 strikeouts. And then his former college teammate, Spencer Bengard, pitched the final 3 innings for the Colonels, 5 shutout innings for Spencer Bengard. He is not giving up an earned run in his first 2 outings for the Colonels. Marco Raya threw 6 innings, 6 shutout innings. He only had 3 strikeouts, but he only walked 1 guy and gave up 2 hits. 57 pitches, 6 innings. So Marco Raya, incredibly efficient. That's a big deal. You know, it's not all that common. Anybody goes 6 these days, to be completely honest. But Marco Raya going 6 is a big deal. Would love to see him do this more often as the season moves on. Twins win both their games today. Everybody else loses. That's okay. We'll take it. We'll take it. We'll take the Twins sweeping the Guardians. Anyway, that's it. Thanks for hanging in there. Thanks for checking this one out. Really appreciate you. We'll talk again tomorrow.